Corpse has been touring in Europe and of course other places in the world, but here we are in the, so-called metal capital of the world. How do they say? I don't know if it's true, but we don't stick to that subject today, but we talk about death, mutilation, corpses, cannibalism, or at least something of that sort, and of course a little bit of back pain. Here we have a Cannibal Corpse drummer, and now how should we say your surname?
Well, you just say Mazurkiewicz, I think.
Here you go. If you're not Polish, well, you get the deal.
Yeah. Just listen to this a few times and you get the idea. So, how does human flesh taste like?
Have no idea.
But you're a Cannibal Corpse.
Exactly. I've been vegetarian for 15 years now, so I had a great vegan meal today, and it was amazing. So I have no idea, really. I have no idea, and I have no desire to know.
Yeah, of course, this was a stupid, funny question we had to start with. Because I started to think, Cannibal Corpse, is it a corpse of a cannibal, or is it actually a, human flesh eating?
Yeah, I know. You'd have to ask Alex what he had in mind when he made up the name back then. But right, is it a cannibal that's a corpse? Is it a corpse that's a cannibal? Who knows, I guess, Either way, we know it's a cool name, of course, and it's probably a question that's been debated for years now. So we may never know the answer.
We may never know.
No.
So, but you've been around for 30 beautiful years. You're still kicking ass. You are strong as ever. I think, and this is by no means brown-nosing comment, but I think your latest album, Red Before Black, is definitely one of your best albums. I could even rate it in my top 3. But how is this possible? 30 years and going. What keeps you going,
well,
guys?
I appreciate the kind words, but right, exactly. I think we're just, we're doing what we've been doing since day one, and we're just kind of getting better at our craft as we go, I think. We're becoming better songwriters, better musicians. Maybe overall experience, and just you're older, you hopefully gain some wisdom in that way, so it is kind of bucking the odds for the most part, right? Because usually a band 30 years in isn't producing their best material, and I'm glad you said that. Really, when we've been hearing this from a lot of people when we put Red Before Black out, that this is arguably our best stuff. It really is, and of course, as the band always say, oh, it's our last release, it's our best stuff, that's that cliche thing. But man, I really think this is some of the best songs we've ever created, really, we got some really catchy stuff. It's a mix of everything Cannibal. It's catchy, it's brutal, it's heavy, it's fast, it's slow, you got everything. But man, for some reason, we just hit the nail on the head right with the songwriting. And we try to achieve that every time. It's not like we go into the writing process, oh, what are we going to do? No, we're always prepared. We're ready to go. We're ready to create. And under those given circumstances, too, we always do a record within 6 to 8 months. It's never like we've sat around going, okay, we got years to create. No, we know we don't. The band has been always constantly on the move. If we're not writing, recording, we're touring, right? So, the fact that when we do it when we're supposed to is kind of a crazy thing too, because yeah, some people may not be able to create that way. Well, I'm not feeling it. Maybe it takes them years. Who knows? But for when we're able to pull it out when we're able to and when we have to, and for some reason or another, exactly, it just seems to, I guess, be getting better. It's hard to explain, other than we just love doing it. It's inside us. Like I said, I think we always do great, and maybe certain albums you got 1 or 2 songs that come out of it, and we have every album you come out. There's going to be those 1 or 2 that are, hey, that's a fan favorite. That's going to be in the set list. But yeah, for this one, man, it's like, wow, that one. Hey, let's play this. Let's play half the album. Let's play more if we can, because we're really excited with this material. So, yeah, I think it's just, we want to keep it, life's too short, all those kind of things, We're not ready to call it a day, you just got to keep striving to be the best you can be. And I'm doing that particularly in my drumming, and I think that's known too. If you're listening to what I did on, say, Red Before Black, and you listen to maybe a few albums, you go, man, Paul seems to have stepped it up a little. Something's going on here. What? Well, I have. I really have taken a little more of an effort to do better. Like I said, it's not like we never did that in the past. But I don't know if it's because you're getting older and you just go, hey, time is of the essence. Maybe tomorrow it will be over. You don't know.
Exactly.
So I think we just we want to do the best we can. And I really I've been doing a lot on my own personally to make myself better in any way possible. Of course in the drumming, but right, if I'm eating better, if I'm working out a little bit more, just doing those little things that maybe I didn't do 5 years ago, And I noticed the difference in that, so that's good. But yeah, it's crazy. 30 years in, and we're writing arguably our best stuff. It's pretty amazing.
It's really amazing because I mean, like for example, right after I got Red Before Black for review, and I liked it a lot, I figured out I would go through the whole discography, which I in fact did. I had to use streaming services for some albums, admit that, but anyhow, I wanted to go through the whole thing just to figure out like am I only imagining things and suddenly I found like new favorites, but still with your massive discography, let's be honest, it's really hard to pick like favorite albums in the sense. But when I was checking out kind of these kind of review scores like from Metal Archives, which have a lot of your albums listed as reviewed and all that stuff. Your new album was in fact I think top 3. So it was not only me. I was like, maybe I'm the guy who likes the new album, and then the rest are just gonna laugh that I'm not so big fan of like Eden Back to Life. But if we take this new album out of the thing here, out of the list, so to speak. Which ones are your favorite? Which are the ones that make you most proud of, even though you have done a lot of albums?
Right. That's a tough one because obviously you're proud of all your records.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, the most special is going to be your first album. How can Eaten Back to Life not be our most special album? It's the first album. It's the first time you're going into a studio and you're getting your album and your CD. Wow, I can't believe we have an album out, a CD. And I think it's a great album. I mean, it's a raw, pure album. As pure and raw as you can be, I think, for Cannibal Corpse.
Yes, it's very finished considering it's a debut album.
Yeah, right. And you look back and you go, wow, we created those songs so quick. You recorded so quick. Everything happened so not really spontaneous, but I guess just the quickness of everything. Yeah, you're recording for 10 days as opposed to being in there for 2 months or whatever now. But yeah, just the fact that it's your first album, that's always just going to be the most special. Now, right, is it the best? I don't know if it's my favorite overall. I love The Bleeding, another one that maybe we hit the nail on the head with the songwriting there at that era. So when you listen to the Bleeding songs, you're like, wow, man, yeah, these songs are just, they're really good songs. We crafted some good songs, so I'm happy for that. I do like Kill a lot. I think Kill was another kind of a transitional album for us. For some reason, the songwriting seemed to take a little bit of a step up from, say, Wretched Spawn or Gore Obsessed, and then Kill just had some really good ones on there that you're like, wow, man, very powerful album. I like Torture a lot as well. Torture is a good album. I mean, I'll sit here and probably just name all 13 prior to Red Before Black, because they're all very special to us, but. Yeah, I mean, I would say those maybe those 4, of course, in particular, maybe.
When I was listening to the first album, and I didn't even remember that it was more trashy in a way, but it was, I guess, the time of the era when death metal was just to be able to fight it, and you were one of the cornerstones. I know it's kind of a bold statement, but I think it holds truth, because back then, 1988, death metal wasn't exactly a thing, except that you got a lot of influences, I think, from bands like Possessed, which you also covered later on. Did you know already back then that you are gonna be one of the founding fathers of the genre, or was it something that you just figured out later on?
Well, of course it was later on. I mean, you're not speculating anything at that point. I mean, we know we're in the movement of something special here, because exactly when we're starting out, what are we listening to? There's really no death metal per se, it's just starting out, right? And those bands weren't really influences for us, a little bit. But yeah, when Death's, Scream Bloody Gore's out, right, Possessed, you got arguably bands like, Creator and Sodom that are on the verge of death metal-esque kind of material. Those are our major influences. So exactly, when we're formed and we're starting to do our thing, we don't even know, we don't even have our identity yet, because we're kind of new to the whole thing. We've only been playing in bands maybe, a couple of years with our prior bands. Cannibal's formed so quick, you start writing some songs, and now it's a new band with a couple of different members that are starting to try to gel, and then we're signed already, and we got to put out a record. So it was kind of crazy that it all happened so quick, but exactly, when you listen to that early, you listen to the demo, that was only recorded, 8 months prior to the record, and our vocals are very thrash, Barnes was singing more melee from Creator mixed with like Blame from The Accused, because that's what we were into. We weren't really into that guttural vocal yet, we're still starting to grow and with that scene, I guess. So right, 6 months, 7 months later, you're like, oh well, yeah, this is how we want our vocals to sound, and yeah, right. If you listen to the first album, there's like no blast beats going on, because
you actually pay attention.
There's no blast beats really, so it was kind of like, yeah, I'm playing the stuff that I know, the bands that I love, like Sodom, Creator, Slayer, that there's no blast beats happening, it's just all thrashing out, and then right, you hear, Morbid Angel comes out, and we're already a band, so you can't say they were an influence, but when you heard Altars of Madness for the first time, or even the Terrorizer album, you hear Pete Sandoval drumming this way, it's like, whoa, this is like taking grindcore, it's got precision now, his drumming was so precision, and you hear his blast, and you're like, wow, this is going to take the music, everyone wants to emulate that, and of course I was no different, and that's why I'm Birching at Birth now, and we got blast beats, because a few months go by, well, that's what we want now.
You're inspired.
Yeah, we were inspired by that. Well, technically we weren't really inspired for Eaton, otherwise maybe we would have had some of that in there, so we were a band just, trying to find our identity at that time while we're growing with this whole movement of what is this, this is thrash, but it's taking it to a whole nother level. So exactly, when you listen to Eaton Back to Life, it's very thrash oriented because we're products of thrash. And it's funny because I like to come back full circle then to Red Before Black. Well, why Red Before Black has all this thrash element? So I think we're just coming back and, it's all in us, all of us. We're all old enough, and that's what it's been embedded in us, But so it's almost like a natural thing to kind of come back to that in a way.
Is it more subconscious or conscious choice?
I think it's kind of subconscious. I mean, I think it's just like, man, that's the kind of riffing we like. That, if somebody's going to pull out a riff, we're going to, wow, that sounds a little thrashy, but what, I like it. Well, yeah, we're products of thrash. We don't have to adhere to any, just because we're Cannibal Corpse and it's, oh my God, it may not sound like we didn't, or maybe that's not a full death metal riff. What is a death metal riff? I mean, who cares? Let's just do what we like to do. And I think that's what's great. We don't sit and over second guess too many things. It's like, yeah, these guys come up with riffs, and like we were saying, Red Before Black. When I'm hearing these riffs from these guys, I'm like, wow, that riff's amazing. That one's great. Yeah, it sounds thrashy, but man, it's heavy, it's brutal, And I think this album captures that. It's not maybe even the fastest record, even the blasting and stuff. It's not. We kind of maybe just made it. I think we tightened everything up, and it sounds more ferocious for some reason because of the tightness and
they're very feral.
Right, crazy, But I think we're just products of the thrash, and we've kind of, it's been in us since we started,
What's going on with southern parts of the United States when so many bands suddenly emerge, like not only you guys, but like you said, Morbid Angel, D-Side, Obituary, Death, of course. What was going on during that era? Or was it just a coincidence?
It was totally coincidence, because we're from Buffalo, and we started in Buffalo, New York, which is completely in the north,
not really south.
And obviously not even close to the south. We just get lumped in there because we moved down there only 7 years into our career. Now we've been based there for, since then. So everybody, we're Tampa. Well, yeah, we're Tampa based, but we're Buffalo born,
Exactly.
The original band's from Buffalo, New York. So we got more in common with bands like Suffocation and, Immolation and those kind of bands, because we had that northern thing. It was pure coincidence, really, I believe, that it was these bands happened to be down in the Tampa area, in the Florida area. Like, why? Who knows?
Alligators?
I don't know. And then Morrisound ties it together, because everyone wants to use Morrisound, so everyone's looking at Tampa as the death metal capital back then. And it just so happens, I guess, because you have these big bands at that time that are living there. I mean, really, the only band I think that's technically from Florida, in a sense, would be Obituary. Like Morbid are implants, Deicide were implants, everyone was implants, and then they happen to do well there, and the band's formed and you get popular. So I think Obituary might be the only ones that were really actually born and raised Tampa. I could be wrong, I don't want to,
speculate too much.
I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I truly look back at it to being just coincidental.
All right. Talking about a little bit about age, not only the band age, but your personal age as well. You're known for, doing aggressive shows. We know that Corpse Grinder is almost, doing his twirls or whatnot on the stage, and you also need to play actively. But I remember reading an interview about you personally having back pains because of your song technique, drumming technique. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's nothing. It's documented. I mean, I get this all the time, and it's such a minor thing. When we did the documentation for Torture, I think it was, when we did the whole studio stuff, and we're doing behind the scenes and everything, you know, I just remember, the one time I'm warming up, you know, we had the cameras rolling on me, and I'm warming up playing, and I was like, what the heck, you know? I'm like, you know, it's out there. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. And man, I'm like, why the hell did I pull my back? I never pull my back when I'm drumming, ever. This is the first time it's ever happened. Like, what the heck? And we're in the middle of recording. This don't help, because we're gonna, you know, if I can't play, we're losing a day, we're losing money. We need to go here, you know? So then we had to do whatever we could. You saw I pulled the inversion table out. There was, what do? We're in El Paso, away from everything. We can't get to a chiropractor. Let's do something here to try to see if I can go here and the day's not wasted. And we pulled out that inversion table, and it did help. And I was like, wow, that was all right. And that did relieve the pain enough to go on to play. And the next day I wake up and I'm fine, you know. And this has come up with a lot of people that come up to me, hey man, how's your back? And I tell them, I go, man, it's so funny because we documented, but that's the only time it's happened, and it never happened before, and it never happened after, you know. So my back is fine. If I'm gonna hurt my back, it's gonna be from something completely not drumming oriented, right? I'm almost 50 years old. I'm gonna bend down and I'm gonna pull my back from trying to pick something up, and then I'm like, oh my God, my back for 2 weeks, you know.
Yeah, the six pack is so heavy.
It's something stupid. It's always gonna be something stupid, and then my back bothers me. Like, that was an upper back thing, and you know, I'm pretty good overall. But like, yeah, funny. The last tour we just did in Europe in February or March, I felt great. The whole tour played, back feel good. As soon as I got home, because I have to go home and do things now. You know, now you're home. Now you got to take care of the family, the house, the animals, all that kind of stuff. Well, I pulled my back immediately doing something, and it was killing me for like 2 months. I'm like, what the heck, you know? And it had nothing to do with drumming, you know. So luckily the drumming part, it doesn't bother me. When I can get up there and I feel pretty fluid and smooth and everything's going fine, but yeah, exactly. We're getting old these days, and unfortunately injuries can happen in any dumb way. You know, so knock on wood, I'm feeling good now, and hopefully I'll feel good for a long time.
We actually had a interview in Tuska Festival, where you have been also playing with creator, and Mille was telling, you know, when he's getting older, less drinking, more smoothies, more yogas and all that stuff. You also mentioned having the more healthy way of eating past 15 years and all that stuff. Is this your wisdom and experience kicking in, or are you just like doing something preemptive in the terms of getting older and all that stuff?
Yeah, to me, it's almost like it's like it should be a common sense, you know, like, you know, oh my gosh, I'm dehydrated, I don't feel good. You drink water. It's not, you know, it's such an easy thing. Wow, drink water.
Yeah, it's not,
but for some reason, people don't want to do that, and they want to go, oh my gosh. Wow, it's a wonder drug, really, water. Drink a lot of water, people, that'll help, you know. Get sleep. Well, that's another thing to me, common sense, get sleep. Eat healthy, you know, that doesn't mean eating vegetarian, you know, because you can be a bad vegan, a bad vegetarian.
True.
It's just eating healthy, you know. To me, that's just like common sense, you know. And maybe those views aren't there when you're younger because you feel invincible.
Yeah, immortal.
Yeah, exactly. But the older I got, it just seemed natural to me. It's just like one day I'm like, you know what? I want to stop drinking soda pops. I know it's not good for me to be ingesting Coca-Cola. Maybe when I was 20, you didn't care about it, you know. But all of a sudden, you get to an age and you're starting to think about these things. All right, let me research. Wow, that's not good for me. You know what? I'm going to quit doing that because, you know, I want to live longer, and I don't want to, you know, I don't want to be, you know, reliant on, you know. So, right, I cut that out 15 years ago as well, and that was just strictly out of knowing it's not good for me as a person to ingest this, no matter what I do, you know. I'm a drummer, I'm whatever, it doesn't matter. I want to be a healthy human being, you know. So I think to me it was just like common sense stuff, you know. Yeah, drink more water. Don't drink that. Yeah, eat better. Get sleep. Get some more exercise. The things they tell you to do, you know. It doesn't seem hard, but yeah, I guess sometimes it is, you know, to have that mentality. So I think to me it was just a matter of getting older and those things start popping up in your mind and you start thinking of those things, and it's just, I really think it's just a natural kind of progression that most people probably go through, not everybody, but Yeah, so it was just a common thing, a common goal of me wanting to be, I want to be 50 years old and being a decrepit old man. When you see a lot of people at my age, that may go, wow, that guy's on my age, and then in each their own. You never know when people may have problems or something like that. But I think a lot of people let themselves go, and then it's too late. It's easy to let yourself go and not exercise and eat bad and do anything, just to have fun, and then you wake up one day and you're like, well, how did I become, giant, and why do I have medical problems, all these things? Well, you didn't do the right thing, and a lot of people want to, blame something else too. They don't want to take in, take in consideration that, well, it was you, man, you gotta, sometimes you gotta blame yourself for a lot of these things, you can't blame somebody else. But yeah, I don't know. So luckily for me, I think I've sort of figured these things out, and I'm feeling pretty good these days for doing all these things, so.
That's very good to hear.
Yeah.
And I find kind of ironic that recently, by recent I mean like last couple of years,
right,
we've been reading a lot of, say, pop metal music people and dance music people,
right,
dying because of drugs and poor lifestyle and all that stuff. But still, all the metalheads basically, like all, maybe not Dio, but anyway, most metal people, which is supposed to be dangerous, you get to live a long life. So why don't you share some wisdom to the newer generation of metalheads and musicians in the world? What are your top 3 hints for better life?
Well, pretty much just what I said. Drink plenty of water, get plenty of sleep, try to get, I know for us older guys now, it's about 8 hours. I get 8 hours of sleep, I feel great, and just eat good. Simple.
Simple as that.
Simple.
You know the wisdom of Cannibal Corpse, their mentality, how to push through, all the stamina, all the endurance and whatnot. The final question is, what lies in the way for next, say, a year for Cannibal Corpse? What happens?
Well, just a lot of touring, obviously. Like I mentioned earlier, this is only our 3rd tour for the record, so we haven't hit, a lot of places yet. So we'll be touring the end of this year. We just released, announced a U.S. tour at the end of the year. Just literally, it was announced yesterday. We'll be doing the States with Hate Eternal and Harm's Way, and then it was already known we're going to South America with Napalm Death in September, October. So we got plenty of touring to be done. More than likely, we'll be touring well into 2019 as well. Because the demand will be there, and right, why not? Why not ride this album? It's such a great album. So we'll be touring for a few years, and then and I'm sure knowing how we work and our schedule, right? When we're done with the touring, well, we'll start collecting the songs together and record and do it all again. That's what we've been doing for 30 years. So I think it's pretty much a lot of the same for us, just moving forward and, playing some death metal.
And working hard. So people, remember, go to check out them live while you can. These won't be there next 50 years, but maybe yet another 15, 20 years. Who knows? With healthy lifestyle, you can achieve a lot of things. You can kill being a vegan as well. Who knows? And why don't you enjoy some good death metal? That's all from Rauta. Stay tuned for more stuff coming your way.